you're spending some time in Milan and you want to know some of the day trips that you can take from Milan by train, then this video is just for you. In this video, I'll be discussing some amazing day trips you can take by train from Milan. So let's get into it. All of these tickets can be conveniently booked with Omio, so the link is posted down below, and you can receive 10% off your first order using the code posted down below. So yeah, the first location is Lake Como. The first year I was in Milan, I did not even know that this location was so close by. I don't know why it took me so long to discover that it's just 45 minutes away from Milan. If you have an extra day, definitely look into visiting Lake Como. The views, spectacular. There are so many different ways or so many different points that you can visit. I'll also have a video coming out on tips to visit Lake Como. If that's something that's interested in, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss when I post that video, because it's gonna be very insightful. But Lake Como is one of a perfect getaway. Then we have Verona, the city of love, just 1 hour and 20 minutes away. If you can't make it to Rome, Verona is a good second, because there is the arena, a very smaller version to the Colosseum, but it gives you an idea of the scale that the one in Rome is at. You also have Juliet's balcony. The streets are beautiful, the views. It's a cute little romantic town to visit. You only need a day, honestly. You only need a day to visit Verona and you can basically see everything that it has to offer. Of course, make sure you have some gelato. Also make sure to have some risotto di vino. I can't remember the name of it offhand, but they have a particular risotto that they make with red wine and it tastes delicious. Then we have Bergamo. It's called a medieval marvel. Y'all, I was taken away. Bergamo is basically just an hour away from Milan, and on a clear day from Città Alta in Bergamo, you can actually see some of the towers from Milan. I fell in love with Bergamo. So basically the city is broken down into two parts. So there's Città Bassa, which is the modern new age part of the city, modern buildings, etc. And then you have Città Alta, which is the historic, more Italian part of the city. It's so beautiful. So to get to the higher city, you could take a walk or you could take the funiculare, which is basically a tram on a slope. So it goes up and it takes you to the high city. Like the views, the nature, it's just amazing. I have a vlog on my secondary channel from visiting Bergamo, and you can see what that experience is like. I really love Bergamo. It's just such an enchanting, very authentic little Italian city, and I loved it. Then we have Monza. If you're into F1, if you're into car racing like that, you would know that it's very popular for the famous track. But I think, in my opinion, Monza is like a cuter, cleaner version to Milan. I really like it. It's actually a city that my husband and I were married in, and maybe for that reason I love it, but I really fell in love with Monza. Also perfect for a day trip. It's only a 20-minute train ride away from Milan, and it's known for its famous gardens. Like there is a huge botanical park, and there is the Royal Palace there as well. There's also a rose garden that we discovered the last time I went, like in April, and it was so beautiful. Like I did not know that there was all this scientific things into roses. So there's actually like a rose competition every year, and they make different grafts of roses based on the requirements, something like it was so cool. But anyway, Monza is another quick day trip option. Then we have Turin. So I've also been to Turin a couple of times. It's about an hour to, depending on the train that you take, it's about an hour and a half to 2 hours away from Milan. It's more like of a French style town in Italy. So there are lots of historic museums. There's a car museum, there's like an Egyptian museum. There are lots of things to do in Turin besides like walk around and enjoy the streets. And what was so interesting for me, or what I noticed, is that in Milan and some other Italian towns, the cities are more like circular. So you'll see a lot of streets go like this. But in Turin, a lot of these streets are basically parallel. It doesn't go into these circle rings like that. So walking through the town, I felt like I was in a different country because it gave a different vibe from some of the other Italian towns that I've been to. Then we have Genoa. Genoa is an hour and a half away from Milan and it's more on the coast. So to get to like Portofino and areas like that, you have to pass through Genoa. But Genoa is basically like the seaport capital of Italy. So that's where a lot of trading happens. So it's kind of also slightly industrial. Genoa is known for its aquarium. There's a very large aquarium. I haven't visited as yet because I've visited a lot of aquariums. So when I went to Genoa, I really didn't plan to visit the aquarium, but the aquarium there is pretty popular. Of course, enjoy the seafood and like the coastal beauty. The last time I went there, there is this basically a ride so that you go up and you see like a 360-degree view of the city. So that was pretty cool. It was like a 10-minute for the most ride for about 5 to 10 euro, I think, 7 euro maybe. And that was a pretty cool view. And this one, if you stayed this long for the video, this is one of my favorites. It's Sirmione on Lake Garda. Y'all, if you think Lake Como is beautiful, I would put Sirmione Lake Garda over Lake Como. There is a medieval castle that is still present that you can go in and visit and see views of Lake Garda there. It is spectacular. I recommend it 1000%. Lake Garda is one of the biggest lakes in Europe as well. So there are many towns across the lake, many of which I have not visited as yet. I've visited about like 3 or 4 towns on Lake Garda, and all of them have their own unique charm that I love so much. So Lake Garda is about like 2.5 hours away from Milan, but still very much worth it for a day trip. I've done it at least 2 times as a day trip and I enjoyed it 1000%. There's another part of the lake that I want to visit, so hopefully I get to visit that by the end of the year or maybe for the summer. But I don't know, like, listen to me. If you're trying to get away from the crowds of Lake Como, you can definitely visit Lake Garda. Now, there are crowds there, but to me, I think there's a little more to explore. The lake is so large. If you do take the ferry from one side of the lake to the other, it actually takes about 2 hours on the ferry to get from one side to the other side. So it's a huge lake, but I definitely recommend it. Also, there are so many other places to visit, like Venice is also a day trip that you can take from Milan, so you don't have to stay in Venice. You can do a day trip. Now you're not gonna get to see everything. Now, if you want to explore Venice a bit more, like go to different islands off of Venice, do different things, you can stay there like 2 or 3 days. But if you just want to visit it to see what it is about, you can do a quick day trip from Milan. The train is about 3 hours, so you can leave early in the morning, come back late at night. It is a beautiful trip from Milan, of course. Like, who would not want to visit Venice? So if you have an extra day in Milan, you can definitely visit Venice. Plan ahead if you want to pay a cheaper price for your tickets for the fast train. Make sure to plan ahead if you really want to do a day trip. There are many other towns that you can visit in Italy if you want to get away from the crowds. So there are other places like Vicenza, Cremona, Parma. Like, there are lots of places that you can visit to experience the charm of Italy without the crowds per se. So do your research, like just zoom in on the map, click on a random town and see if it's something that you would want to do. Like, do the pictures look good?